What, because of these stares, because of this like racist attitude, this racist view on something that you have no control over, what does that do to you spiritually? Like, what does that do to you in here?
And so I didn't speak. I very rarely spoke. I didn't speak all the way through childhood and adolescence into my 20s. It was eroding my sense of beauty, my sense of worth, my sense of belonging. It was siphoning my essence, my life force, my mana, you know. And so I was dying spiritually. I was dying. The whole campus is there. For me, though, the air was very still. And I know because I knew that Creator was working. That there was something that was about to happen to me that would change my life in that moment, my condition. Now, there had been other souls before and after that who similarly affected me, or I should say infected me with self-love.
A flower does not need permission to bloom. It just does.
Right.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Dee Hankins Show, where we take life, filter it through the 3 buckets to set you up to hit more home runs. We are back with another episode, and as you can see, I brought another guest along. This is Dr. Jaiya John. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, man, okay. Hey, man, I'm just happy to be in studio with Dee. Happy to be in studio, man. I never know how to describe myself. Just listen, I'm poetry. I'm poetry, and then, you know, founder of Soul Water Rising, which is a global rehumanizing mission, striving to eradicate oppression and stir the soul to remember itself. Indigenous stuff, man. Bring us back home.
Yeah. Author.
Few
speaker.
books. Yeah, few speaking.
Healer. Baba.
Elder. Village elder. Yeah, medicine.
Man. You got the whole.
Yeah.
You got the whole gamut. Professor.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur. Athlete.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Him, man.
Reach back in the archives. Filmmaker. Photographer. Yeah.
You got the whole shebang, man. You got the whole shebang. Jaiya is also one of my really, really good friends. And as we dive into expanding the 3 bucket philosophy and getting into details where we're protecting our core 4, I wanted to bring in Dr. Jaiya John to help us strengthen our spiritual resilience. Now, a lot of people hear spiritual, man, and they automatically think religion. Just off the bat, we've been programmed to think religion.
Right.
I've come to learn that spiritual is not just religion, but a whole plethora of avenues and things. Ultimately, it's what I see is what you know about you, how you work, why you work, purpose, design, everything that has happened, how you turn that into something great. And this is one of the reasons why I brought you on here, is because from the outside looking in, I see a 6'6", you know, what 230?
No, we're up there.
We're up there, 250, 280, right? We're looking at a massive football player. We see you on stages. We see you writing books. We see you in libraries. And from the outside looking in, it's just like, oh, he was just born like that. He's got it like that.
Yeah.
And that's not the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is you have went on a spiritual journey to find out who Jaiya really is. Now, you have a ton of books, ton of writings, ton of poetry, ton of speaking engagements. But for a while, you didn't say a word.
Correct.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So I'll take you all the way back to the beginning, as I think any good story will take us there. And I was born in the desert of New Mexico, La Tierra del Encantamiento, Nuevo Mexico. I was born an orphan. And the way that I grew up, there was no one that looked like me around me in my world. I mean, I was completely isolated in terms of physical appearance, in terms of race, in terms of culture, and in terms of just my nature, my personality, my way of being. And so, as a child, I experienced that in a way that was very, very painful. It felt very isolating, and it caused me to turn inward and grow very quiet. I was trying not to be seen, trying not to be noticed, because I noticed that what came with that attention just didn't feel good to me. A lot of that was, due to the sin of my skin, as I would say, and so it was a strategy. It was a child's imperfect strategy to survive and get through the world and not be sort of attacked with that kind of attention, which was very much a white supremacist kind of attention, a racist attention, and othering, as they like to say. And so I didn't speak. I very rarely spoke. I didn't speak all the way through childhood and adolescence into my 20s.
But something changed, man.
Yeah.
There was a little lady that you met one day that...
Little indeed. So I was 18.
Wait. Before we get to that, because that part, I love that part.
Okay.
Spiritually, though.
Yeah.
Because of these stares, because of this like racist attitude, this racist view on something that you have no control over, which I call bucket number 3, what does that do to you spiritually? Like, what does that do to you in here?
Yeah. So, for me, I really come from an indigenous way of seeing, being, thinking, understanding, which, when I say indigenous, I'm actually, to me, that's synonymous with spiritual, in that to be indigenous is to be in active relationship with all things, including the self. A sacred relationship, a reverential relationship, so all of life becomes ceremony. Now, when you're growing up in a way where you're being related to violently, or in a toxic way, or in a dehumanizing way, one of the things that can do is it can short circuit your spiritual connection with yourself and with all things, including your creator. So in that short circuiting, now you're no longer drawing not only energy from your source and affirmation from your source, but you're beginning to, in that disconnected state, you're vulnerable to being filled with the stories and narratives of the world, many of which don't have your best interest at heart. They are telling lies about you, essentially, about your worth, about your value. You're hearing this in your head. You're hearing it through popular culture, movies and television. You're hearing it from society. You could be hearing it from people in your life. These narratives about who you are. That, to me, spiritually, one of the first traumas we experience is a disconnection from our truth that leaves us open and vulnerable to the storytelling of other people and systems. And so very quickly, I began to drown in this storytelling. At the time, now, this was back in the day, so at the time, Alex Haley's Roots had come out, that miniseries which told the story of an African people and the child being taken from the shores of Africa, brought on the Middle Passage over to Turtle Island, the United States, and cast into slavery. And that journey through all of that hell for generations after generations to find a way to liberate legally, if not spiritually, from enslavement. So I was brought up, I was coming up at a time where in some ways it's the same as today, in some ways it's very different than today. Certainly what has not changed is that it wasn't safe to be a black boy in a land like this, in a culture like this. And So spiritually, what it was doing to me, it was eroding my self-construct. It was eroding my sense of beauty, my sense of worth, my sense of belonging. It was siphoning my essence, my life force, my mana, And so I was dying spiritually. I was dying. That was a journey of from birth to, let's say, graduation from high school. So from birth to 17, it was a journey of really dying, not living. But I was good at presenting as though
wearing the mask.
Yeah, wearing the mask. We wear the mask, So showing up to school, getting the grades, being kind to everybody, fitting in place.
Yeah.
Trying not to make too many waves. But on the inside, it was a spiritual death more than anything else. It was absolutely a death of the soul, a death of the light within me. I had a very strong, loving nature, and that continued. That soul fire continued to burn in me, but the light of it wasn't turned toward myself. So it was more like that classic Black self-hatred, that indigenous self-hatred, when you're just trying to exist in the midst of your own colonizer, your own oppressor.
What does that do to the physical body when you're wearing the mask?
Yeah.
You know that you're dying on the inside spiritually. You know that you don't feel safe, welcome, hurt, broken. But we call it doing the dance to, doing the dance to get the ticket to where, we're not. Well, what happens to the physical body, man?
Man, a beautiful question, because, if you look at so-called Black and brown bodied human beings in this country and around the world, you see just statistically the evidence of that question. The answer is there as clear as day. It kills us. It breaks us down. We have a higher incidence of disease processes in our bodies. We're carrying tension, inflammation, trauma. I remember when I was a professor at Howard University having this conversation with one of the other faculty members, and he was studying inflammation at the time, and looking at inflammation in African descent people in particular, and where is that coming from and what does it do to us? So you could say that if you jumped into a hot tub and it was scalding, boiling hot water, everyone understands what that would do to your body, right? But we don't have a great understanding of what being immersed every day, 24/7, in the boiling waters of racism and white supremacy, what that does to our bodies. And it has a very similar effect. It's destroying us on a cellular level, on a molecular level. Our organs are affected. Our respiration is affected. Our heart is affected. Our brain is affected. I have an intuitive sense, and maybe there's data already there that, ultimately that can contribute to dementia and Alzheimer's, because any sort of stress or trauma to our physical system is intimately connected to our holistic system, which is spiritual, emotional, behavioral, relational. And so then you just have this conduction of harm that is flowing through all aspects of your being while you're immersed in an element, an environment, an atmosphere that is poison, that is harm, that is toxicity. And so, as a kid, we tend to be more physically resilient because we have that energy. Right? So I was doing okay myself coming up in terms of, participating in sports, and, my passion was fighting, was boxing, and, playing ball, and I was holding up. But we can hold up through a lot of things through those first 20 years or so. And then the signs start showing up, chronic diseases, You know, the inflammation can lead to a whole lot of things. And for me, certainly my health was being affected. My immune system was being affected. And it was showing up in a lot of different ways, physically for me. And it, you know, I was young, so I didn't necessarily make the connection between what was going on here and what was going on here. And then as I got, you know, along my way, I started to see, oh, okay. And it's not just me, like people that look like me, you know, we're not doing okay. You know, it's, you know, we shouldn't have to be as holistically resilient as we are. You know, just because we're surviving doesn't mean that we're okay or the reality that we're living in is okay.
It's okay. That's it's a great way to look at it when you see millions of people surviving, but spiritually dead, sick, hurt, alone, afraid, but will go to work chipper just because that's what they have to do. I see that all the time too, man. Like I come across it, and the more we sit down together, the more I grow. I realize, you know, even myself for a long time would do the work. I remember back, I want to say maybe 2017 or something, I was on this mission to, you know, make $100,000 in speaking that year. And definitely got there. But by the time October rolled around, I was sick, man. I was sick. I was depressed. I was sad. I was disappointed in myself because I had, you know, a bunch of schools left, and they got like maybe 75% of me just because I was so over it. I had killed myself literally to, you know, be one of the tops, you know, and I ever since I've never done that again, to go that hard for that reason alone, to feel like, oh, I want to feel welcome amongst, you know, amongst the greats or whatever. You know, you're not great until you're making six figures speaking and all that. And I'm here to tell y'all, I make six figures a lot, and it's just not what you think it is, man, when you do it for that reason. And it just goes back to what you said. Spiritually, I was done.
You know, the thing about our spiritual nature, which we are, our nature is spiritual. There's no denying that, right? When we are well spiritually, that inner compass is working. It's orienting us in the directions that serve not only us, but our collective, you know, our family, our friends, our community, humanity, the natural world. When we are well spiritually, we have an orientation toward well-being, toward symbiosis, toward empathy, towards compassion and collective care. We have a orientation toward healing and growth and nurturing and, you know, gardening and planting and farming. We have an orientation toward feeding each other and caring for each other and being, making sure that everyone has shelter and sustenance. We are oriented toward life. When we become spiritually sick, we are losing our compass, our GPS, if you will. And so we lose direction, and we easily get onto these paths where we start chasing these holy grails, right? These holy ghosts, these apples, the thing before the cart. We're like, oh yeah, I want that, because our GPS is broken, and it's a spiritual one. You know, we have to understand that spirituality is not only about who or what you pray to. It's about what is your discernment, your instinct, your intuition. Are those instruments working and operating in you so that you are on what we would call in Diné or Navajo in New Mexico, the beauty way? Are you on the beauty way? That's the way that sustains all life. Or have you lost your way and you're wandering into greed and hoarding and control and conquest and I'm going to get more. I'm going to get more. Because as you just said, once you get to the top of that mountain,
it's never enough.
There are a whole lot of souls in this world. I think about this a lot. Have been since I was a child. And we should all pause and think about this. There are a whole lot of souls in the world that we know of because their lives have been recorded, that attain immense wealth and fame. But then you see what is the end of their story. Mm-hmm. So often it is, demise, young death, suicide, depression, overdose.
Kids hate them.
Kids hate them.
Wife leaves them.
Yeah. And so how painful must it be to get to the top of those mountains that you've been told all your life are what you should strive for, and realize that you are feeling completely alone, empty in the soul, your heart is broken, you're exhausted, you're burned out, and you feel like, this isn't what I imagined it would be. So we don't wish upon anyone that they have to learn that lesson because it's a painful one, to spend your whole life devoted to chasing something that does not fulfill you at all. And you could say, yes, it makes your life easier in certain ways. Well, sure, but it makes your life very, very much a life of suffering in the ways that really matter. Relationships, health.
Yeah. All the core four.
You know what I mean?
I say. Like you become spiritually broken, right? And there's evidence of this all over the place, right? Racism is a sign of spiritual brokenness. Robbing, right now, the church is under fire because there's a lot of pastors that are greedy. Spiritual brokenness, greed, like you said, hoarding, spiritual brokenness. You think about, I think about COVID, when people were just hoarding toilet paper, and I need it, I need it. It's just like, no, but you because you have this, we go into panic mode. When we're spiritually weak.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We end up operating from this lizard brain, the primal brain. It's all adrenaline and cortisol.
Yeah.
It's emergency.
Yeah. But when you're okay, which is why I try to tell my audience this all the time, is when you are spiritually resilient, meaning you have certain systems in place where you have become strong, like you said, following the beauty way, where you're empathetic, where you're understanding, where you're grounded, where you sit back and you look at your house and go, dang, I don't need 80% of the stuff in here. I'm going to give it away. Yeah. You start to give, you start to live like that. When crisis happens, you still have this sense of peace.
Yes.
I'm not saying you won't be afraid or, concerned.
Right.
But there's a sense of peace. And you can tell people who are spiritually sound and resilient versus people who are spiritually not.
Yeah.
Because when life throws curveballs, you just, what can I get? Who can I purge? Who can I step over to get it? Yada, yada. How do you get to a point where you're in relationship with yourself to understand that, look, life is going to happen. Bucket number 3, which is acts of God, natural disasters, death, time, everything that we can't control, it is going to happen, and it's going to happen continually. How do I get to a point where I don't panic because I'm in relationship with myself? And before you answer that, I want to kind of segue into this, how you became spiritually alive, because there's a difference that happened with this certain situation, this certain story that you're going to tell, which ultimately led you to be Dr. Jaiya John that we know now, who has helped, who is empathetic, who is understanding, who is giving, who is operating in the spiritually sound and healthy mind. So can you walk us through that story?
Yeah, I would love to. And You know, I tend to storytell in circles. So here we go. Here we go. Let's go on the carousel now. Let's start with a metaphorical or an analogy. As a poet, that's how I process and articulate. If you walk into a forest, and that forest is healthy, everything living there, the trees, the shrubs, the butterflies, the insects, the water flowing, the earth, the air. If it's a healthy forest, it's not because each individual living thing in that forest is some sort of superstar that chased, you know, this idea of success of, like, I got to get the most, I got to hoard, I need attention, I need all eyes on me, I need views. I need, that's not what makes a healthy ecosystem. If you find yourself in a healthy forest, it's because the living things in that forest, whether by their nature or by learning the hard way, have come to be in relationship with each other in what you call a mycelial web, symbiosis. Things are working together to benefit one another. So a tree is communicating through its roots underneath the surface with other trees and their roots and other plants and their roots. And they're communicating and saying, listen, I need a little bit more nitrogen over here. And so they share their nitrogen, literally. I need a little bit more water over here. There's literally a concert of being alive, and that's spirituality. Now, as human beings, when our minds are colonized by fear narratives, panic narratives that come from colonizers and their ways, we do fall into emergency mode and we begin to lose those native stories in us about being at peace no matter what is going on, about being okay, about being safe. We start to have those stories die off inside of us, and they're replaced by the story that says, I'm not okay. If I make $1 billion, I'm not okay. I need to make 2 billion. If I have 100 people under my heel, that's not enough people. I need to have control over 1,000 people. If other people are thriving, I'm in danger. If I'm not getting the things to which I'm used to being entitled, my privileges, because humanity is moving into a more humane era where there are no untouchables, and those who have been on the margins, those who have been oppressed and devalued and held down in silence, they are rising up and they are asserting themselves. And I'm used to being at the top of the pyramid, so that means I'm a victim. So these are the narratives that kick in with the spiritual sickness, where we're disconnected from the source, because that connection with source is what calms us, is what says to us consistently, not only am I all right, but we're all right. We're all right as long as we care for each other, as long as we serve and benefit each other.
That makes me think about, I think about crisis, right? And I think about my boys, my boys, all my friends. And we are so close that if anything happened to me, my family would be taken care of. If I needed anything, I'd be taken care of. I don't worry about certain things because I know I have them. If I needed anything, place to stay, if I needed money, food to eat, any crisis, right? One of them would take care of me, right? And so therefore I'm at peace. This also makes me want to make sure that I have what I need if any of them need help. Right? So 8 billion people on this planet, and what I hear you saying is if all 8 billion had each other in mind, we'd be what I believe this world was designed to be.
We would resemble the rest of nature. I mean, balance.
Yeah.
You know, we're not saying that in nature there's no conflict, you know, there's no violence, there's no harm. But what we are saying is if we just look around us every day, open our eyes, open our hearts, and behold this creation. Look what has been created, what has been made, the miracle of how it works together, the rivers flowing from the mountain peaks, the snow melt, you know, that then feeds the desert lowlands, that flows into the deltas, that bring the way water brings sediment to a new soil and things grow and bloom. And then you get, you know, you get minnows and you get larger fish and you get whales and sharks. So at all times, there is a miracle happening all around us and really inside of us. But because of our condition, we fail to see it. And we experience ourselves and each other as these individualistic islands that are in conflict and competition. That's the sickness. That's the spiritual sickness. Any colonizer who moves around the world devouring everything is the most profoundly sick organism that could ever exist.
The virus.
It's a pathogen. It's a succubus.
Yeah.
It is there to suck life from all things, including ultimately itself. But it cannot help it. It cannot help it. So this takes us back to the story you were touching on. So I'm 18. I'm on campus. I'm an undergraduate student on campus. And so thus far in my life, I've been experiencing, although I've had beautiful relationships in my life, I want to make that very clear, some very loving, caring friendships, family relationships, community relationships. What I have been experiencing internally, though, is a profound isolation and aloneness. So the way, you know, we all have life circumstances, but the way we translate that circumstance is what matters. And when we are well, we translate it in such a manner that it illuminates for us what our true wealth is and how we can lean on that wealth and how that wealth can lean on us in reciprocity to heal and to grow and to move forward. When we're unwell, the translation reads like this: woe is me, I'm a victim, the world is against me, everybody hates me, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy of love, I can't love, I'm all alone, nobody cares, nobody sees me, this is too painful, I don't want to be here. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. So this is the dark vortex we fall into. At 18, I was in immense pain. I was afraid of everything, my own shadow, my own voice. I had no confidence in myself, no belief in myself. I felt that I was the most physically repulsive thing that there could be. Again, because of a lifetime of having no reflection,
That's deep, man.
no affirmation of any kind. No family affirmation, nothing that looked like me, nothing that had my heart, nothing that, you know, was just my way of being. And I'm sitting there in this giant auditorium one night, and the small woman, the one you mentioned, she comes rolling in, short cropped hair, black lady. She opens up her materials, and this is a poetry reading. All these students are filling all the seats and faculty and staff. The whole campus is there. For me, though, the air was very still. And I know because I knew that Creator was working, that there was something that was about to happen to me that would change my life. And this soul, she opened up and she started pouring out the testimony of her love for herself as a Black woman, as a human being, and pouring out in the same breath her love for her people, her kin, however you want to define that, those who loved her, those she loved, pouring out her love for life, her love for gardening, her love for soul food, her love for music and dance. She was on fire. The thing about it was I had never seen someone, much less a Black someone, love herself like that. She was the exact opposite of me in that moment, my condition. Now, there had been other souls before and after that who similarly affected me, or I should say infected me with self-love. One would have been Muhammad Ali at that time. When I was coming up, I saw myself in him from a distance. There was no one like close to me, but from a distance, these figures, these historical figures, I saw the way they loved as a holy servitude. And that moved me because I felt that's what I was here for.
Wow. Hold on, man. You hit me.
Yeah.
You saw the way they loved as a holy servitude, meaning love. They dedicated themselves to serve through love. And now you're talking about, you bring up Muhammad Ali, you bring up this young lady that we're talking about. Yeah. All these people who were oppressed, all these people who were talked about, all these people who were looked at like you were.
Yes. That's the power. For me as a young person, to behold souls who I knew had gone through hell, were still going through hell, had been the target of hate all throughout their life. Civil rights figures and people in revolutionary struggles all around the world throughout time. Going back to the prophets, going back to Buddha, going back to me, really the ultimate example actually was Jesus Christ, because if you looked at that human journey, he was born into a time of intense oppression by an empire, came up in a family that really didn't have much. He was a migrant. He was an immigrant. He was a refugee. Okay? He had plenty of hate coming his way, but yet it was the choice. And this ended up as a title in one of my books, All These Rivers and You Chose Love. For me, to behold through the historical prism that this soul chose to dedicate his life, devote his life, sacrifice his life, despite being hated. This is the part we often don't talk about. He still chose love. And the people on the marches in this country or any country for freedom. I'm thinking about the young people in Soweto in South Africa during apartheid. I'm thinking about young people primarily here in the 50s and 60s. So you had people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, yes. You had women like Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman, yes. But you had unnamed people by the millions throughout time before us who have been on this earth, who have been through the worst, and they've still chosen to love. What is that choice all about? For me, it's them answering a spiritual calling that says, if you're going to be in this world, then you need to be one among the living things. And you need to be in relationship with other living things, in care for other living things. That is my design as your creator. And if you go against that, you are not only going to be suffering, you're going to cause suffering. And that's what I was dealing with in that moment.
You're not only going to be suffering, you are going to cause suffering. The evidence for that is plentiful.
Yes.
The evidence of that for these past, especially in this country. Actually, people who are going to stumble across this video on YouTube or on Instagram, whatever the case may be, have that mindset as well. I'm against this person. No basis. Just what I've been taught, what I've learned. And therefore, I'm going to cause them suffering, but inside I'm also suffering. This brings me up, like, I wanted you to get back to your story, but the Chud the Builder. You heard about that dude?
Yeah.
That is the outline of what you just said.
Yeah.
Right? I'm so spiritually disconnected. And I don't know old bro from Tuesday, but what I do know is that your life can't be fulfilled living like that.
No. So there are genocides happening on this earth as we speak, and they've been happening on this earth throughout human history. I'm thinking about that because genocide, where you are wiping out an entire people, that is the culmination, the consequence of a generational conversation in which people are choosing to hate. They are choosing to dehumanize. They are coming up with a rationale, a master plan, a thesis, a holy book to justify their destruction of another people. And one of the things that's critical for us to pause and sit with is, what is the spiritual condition of a group of people who perpetrate genocide? Are they at peace?
No.
Are they illuminated with loving light? What is the internal condition of someone who is frothing out the mouth, rabid like a rabid animal, but worse because it's a rabid human who has access to destructive power that animals don't have? What is the internal? Would you like to live inside of that condition of someone who is perpetrating genocide?
No.
No. For some reason, there's this tendency where too many people look upon a society that is committing genocide and they celebrate that society. They admire that society without doing the hard, painful reckoning of questioning, but what do those people feel like on the inside? Yeah. What is their condition?
Well, I think about this. If you can celebrate that and you can cheer that on and you can post about that and you can do those things, there's a symbiotic relationship there. You are also sick.
Yes.
Right? You are also, so they do feel exactly what it feels like inside, that rotting, that dead, that, and this reminds me of like, there's this Palestinian, Middle Eastern thing going on. And people feel like they have to choose sides as opposed to choosing humanity.
Yes.
And I've never gotten that, man. I've never gotten that. I sit there and I go, it's like soccer.
Yeah. Like it's a game.
Yeah, two people going against each other.
Polarities.
But who suffers from that?
Yeah.
Human beings. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So for you to care about that kind of horrific violence, you must still be in touch with your soul to some degree. And to look upon that kind of violence with glee or joy or like a cavalier attitude, you must have been at some point disconnected from your own soul. You can't be soulful and celebrating genocide, ethnic cleansing,
racism,
sexism, enslavement, human trafficking. You cannot be soulful. It would be like to have a jazz musician up on stage who's filled with nothing but hate and emptiness. That's the antithesis of jazz. That soul could not play on that stage.
Yeah,
the music of life would not be in that soul. So there's no way that kind of jazz is a euphoric liberation movement of the soul. It is so expansive and free and intuitive and multi-directional. It's wild. It is a wild thing. It's not a domesticated thing. Music is like that. So you can't find the condition of hate playing beautiful music in the world. I don't mean technically playing, I mean soulfully, spiritually exuding, because that's love.
Yeah, that's sense.
Love. That is love. When someone's up there, like you got a group of musicians, they're vibing so hard that you're sitting there in the in the club crying.
Yeah,
because it's something supernatural is being conducted. Something divine is flowing, and that is love. And so the two, they can actually coexist.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about this,
Well, that's biblical, right?
Right.
Light, dark.
Right.
They can't coexist at the same
yeah.
time.
So in other words, you have to choose your God. And you, at one point, you could say that your God in this country and a lot of places in the world, many people claim to have a divine God, but their actual God is money.
Yeah.
Because they would literally kill and do anything for money.
Well, they do it now.
That's worship.
Yeah.
That's worship.
You'll pretend to be a servant of God in order to get money.
To get your bag. So the deceitfulness that is breeding in an ecosystem like this is not only threatening to individual lives, it's a threat to all life. It's life endangering. The kind of psychosis of worship, where you claim you worship one thing, but everything about the way you're living your life is makes it clear you're worshiping something else.
I laugh because this happens all the time. Right now, racism, it feels like we're back.
Yeah.
We went back 200, 300 years. And, well, we have gone back 300, years. However, a lot of people are starting to see this battle between what I'm saying to people and what I'm actually living. So a telltale sign is you go to these pages, you'll see a lot of racist comments. You'll click on these people's profile, and it's just like Christ is King, John 3:16, and it's just like, what? It reminds me of this guy. His name's Q-Top. He's on TikTok, and he like battles atheists. And one time I was watching him, and sometimes he does it in a very beautiful way, where the person on the opposite end is actually thinking and absorbing. And one time, his opponent says, "Well, what about the person that does this and this?" I forget what he says, and then says he's Christian. And Q-Top says, "Well, he's not." And he just said, "Well, he says he is." He's like, "Well, he's not," right? And he's trying to explain to him that you can't be this while doing this, right? You can't be racist,
right?
Or sexist, or kill people, or murder people, and go against everything that a follower or a disciple wouldn't do, right? There's rules. It's like you said, right? I can't say that I'm a pianist, but I don't play the piano, right? Or I'm a doctor, but I don't have the degree or the certification or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it hit me because I was like, man, this really strikes a chord, because if I walk around causing hate, if I walk around snuffing out the light in other people, if I walk around like Chud the Builder, aggravating you and threatening to kill you and calling you out of your name and doing these things, but then turn around and go, "Oh no, I love the Lord," right? And I talk about this in a previous episode of back in the day, where pastors of churches would kidnap a kid, hang them, burn them at the stake, and then next Sunday be like, "Oh, thou shalt not kill." Like, spiritually, you have to be spiritually unwell.
Yeah, there's no exception to spiritual laws. Or the law of love, which is the most demanding law of all, actually. It's basically saying either you are love or you're not.
It's plain and simple.
So the photographs from back in the day, and it's still happening, by the way. There's been a resurgence of lynchings, certainly in this country. But back in the day, you see the black and white photographs of black bodies hanging from trees. All those people standing around the tree, literally celebrating, They're having picnics. They've brought food out with them.
Yeah.
They brought their children
Kids.
with them, and they're hanging out. They're playing. This is for them spectacle and entertainment and some sort of social revival. The overwhelming majority of those people attended church on Sunday. And so we have to reckon with the often vast gulf or canyon between what we say we are and what we actually are. What we actually are is an energy, a condition, an environment that we bring to the world and to ourselves. That's what we actually are. And that energy has the potential to heal and to do great harm. And that's what we actually are. So all the language that people tend to use to identify themselves in ways that feed the ego and feed the pride, we have to learn as a humanity, we have to mature to a place where we have spiritual discernment to be able to look and see or feel, really.
Yeah.
It's a feeling. Okay, that person is saying they are this, but they are this. And what does that mean to me? And how I choose to be affected by their presence on earth. What does it mean in terms of what I do with the words they are speaking, with the energy they are pouring out? What is my responsibility to myself, to the people I love, and to all living things to caretake what is being spewed forth from that soul? Because I know I have enough of a grounded, rooted condition to be able to know that what that person says they are and what they are is not the same.
Very two different things, but you also have to know that about yourself as well.
You have got to be someone who has decided, I'm going to be devoted for the rest of my life. And you can decide this at age 8, you can decide it at age 80, but it has to be you saying, I'm going to devote myself for the rest of my life from healing to heal from the poison that has polluted me all my life, that I inherited, that I was exposed to. I'm going to devote myself to healing from that and eradicating the stories in me that are the spirit of hate, the conduit of hate, the ambassador of hate. And I'm going to spend my life remembering what it means to be a living thing in the woven web of coexistence. I'm going to spend my life remembering what that feels like, how it behaves, how it thinks, how it acts, how it responds. And no matter what the social pressures are on me to be a certain way, whatever the political party is wanting me to be, whatever, the family or the friends, whatever people are trying to force me back into, I am going to devote myself, no matter what the cost, to putting my roots in that soil of sacredness. And I'm going to stay there the best that I can. And I'm going to see what harvest comes from that.
Yeah. People are afraid to do that, man. And I'll tell you why. And this is why I laugh at certain individuals, because again, I'm stuck on this Chud the Builder guy, because he has given so many examples of, what to do, what not to do. And a perfect example is this. One of his videos, he's, shouting out these racist slurs, yada, yada. And a white girl comes along and goes, don't talk to him like that, or yada, this and that. And immediately turns on her, right? And I see this all the time, right? We think of Ruby Bridges, black girl school. Teachers walk out, all white teachers walk out, grown men and women yelling at this, 6-year-old, 8-year-old girl, right? Well, there was a family in that neighborhood, white family, who thought, this isn't right. So we're going to take our kids to school. And the whole town turned on them. And what I'm trying to say is this. When you are spiritually broken, if someone doesn't affirm
that's right,
your spiritual brokenness, you will turn on them. That's that is the sign that you are spiritually broken, because the opposite of that is this. If I give you something that you need, water, food, whatever the case may be, chances are that if it comes around to where I need something that you can provide, you will do it for me. This is the essence of love. I'm taking care of you. You're taking care of me. I'm not asking you for it, right? The essence of hate is if you do not agree with me, now you are the enemy.
Right. By definition.
Doesn't matter if you were on my team, my family, my da-da-da, this and that. You are the enemy. So I can go from hating black people.
Yeah.
But if you see that as wrong,
that's right.
You might as well be black.
Yeah, because hate doesn't discriminate.
Exactly.
Hate has actually zero tolerance for being disagreed with or made uncomfortable or being put on the spot. Hate has zero. So think of certain bullies that exist in the world, in the public right now, who have a lot of attention and spotlight on them, and how they respond when somebody disagrees with them publicly, especially when someone sort of challenges them. What is their response? So but when you see those kind of hateful, rageful tantrums, that certainly is not coming from a place of well-being.
No, not at all.
You make a great point about how living things when they are well, they tend to be accepting of the richness of life, the fullness of life, the variety of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Living things can sway in the wind. Living things can be disagreed with and not throw a fit, not pitch a fit, not pitch a tantrum, because living things are already feeling secure.
Yeah.
They got the roots in the ground.
I'm a tree.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm a tree.
So I don't really
I have
care.
a job.
I don't care. Like you do your thing.
Well, you say it in one of your poems. You say a flower does not need permission to bloom. It just does.
Right.
And I know that's a different content, but in the context that we're talking about, it's just like, yo, I don't need you to affirm.
Yeah.
Whether you disagree, well, you can walk by a rosebud and be like, "Oh, those roses are ugly."
Yeah.
Well, they're still going to do what roses do. They're not tripping on you. They have a job. They have a purpose.
Yeah, hate is a culture club.
Oh man!
And so if you want to be in the club, you've got to
hate.
You see what I'm saying? There's requirements. There's requirements. There's a bouncer at the there's a bouncer at the front door.
You gotta sell your soul. You gotta sell your you have to sell your spiritual health to be part of that club. And we see it today in politics.
Yeah.
So many people that are willing to sell their spiritual health, their love, to join this hate club out of fear, out of greed, out of, I can get up. And people are coming out the woodwork, man.
Like termites that have been flushed from their burrows. It's
not worth it. These people are miserable. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm going to stand on this. Those people are miserable. This is why it's constant contention. There's no peace in that camp.
There's no peace.
Constant contention, constant fear, constant like, I better not, I have to agree with this person. I better not say anything or I'm going to be ousted, right? And I just go, it's sad.
You know, there's a misleading kind of joy that is sort of performed by groups of people who are infected in that way. I'm going back to biblically the orgy with the golden calf. And if you look down upon that valley and see all that hedonism, you might say to yourself, wow, these people are having a good time. But to your point, if you interrogated the condition of their soul, you would find there is no peace there. That what appears to be joy is actually escapism. It's distraction. They are fleeing their pain. They are fleeing their fear by behaving in in that way. And so it can be very misleading. And we have to be very careful as we really appraise the value of the choices we make as a society and as a humanity. When we see people, when they make those choices and they sell their soul, they're getting paid, they're getting attention, they're getting power. So maybe I want those things too. That's where we get seduced. And we have to be very careful, because what it appears to be is not what it actually is. And whatever they seem to be benefiting from by making those choices, by allowing themselves to sell the soul and be in the club, those apparent benefits themselves are temporary. They're very fleeting. So what happens when the next administration comes and now you don't, like, it's not you no more. Now what do? You're going to flip sides? Okay.
They do it all the time.
Yeah, but what is, your soul is still saying to you, you're not being true to the integrity of what I am within you. And so you're still going to suffer because you're playing games.
Yeah, turmoil. Yeah. You haven't picked a side.
Yeah, you're still lost in the mouth of the volcano of your ego, of your identity, of your storytelling, and of the pollution from the social world that has told you what to be and how to be. And you're weak inside. You haven't developed the muscularity to stand in your own truth and root there like a great tree. You're terrified of standing in your own integrity.
I think about, again, Ruby Bridges and that crowd. And I think about how many families were like, also, man, this is wrong.
Yeah.
But I see how they treat
I'm not doing
the Johnsons. I'm
not, you know.
And so what does that do for somebody on a, like, you have to live with that. Like, you know, you think about that. Like, these people are now in their 70s.
Yeah.
Right? And you think about that one family, that one dad or that one mom who sat there in the crowd and said, this is wrong. The way they're treating people is wrong. However, if I join in and they treat me like that group, like that little girl or that family that took their daughter to school, I can't do it. I won't do it. I'm too afraid to do it. Now you're 70. What has your life been like since that point up to now? Now you're on your deathbed. Are you regretting? And these people are rich.
Why? Yeah,
Some
right,
of them got rich.
Right. Because again, the apparent wealth in the earthly world is not the same thing as true wealth in the earthly world. So when they made that choice all those years before, that choice had a spirit to it. And that spirit has been living in them ever since. So whether they are conscious of it or not, they are haunted. This is what we call the Vietnamese, the hungry ghosts, because they are in the state where they are not all the way alive. They have sacrificed their livingness, their vitality, and they are constantly going around the world devouring everything because they can't get full.
Yeah.
And so their arrangement with themselves is I'm something's not okay in me. I don't know what it is. They can't even remember the choice they made. They don't want to. They've put a lid of denial on it. You know, but it's living in their body and it's spreading like a disease.
That's deep.
And so they're haunted and they're starving.
You said Vietnamese.
Yeah,
so so we're talking about ancient civilized. I don't want to say ancient, but Vietnam's been around for a while.
A lot longer than
they've
this country.
Seen this.
Yes. It's a pattern.
For decades,
it's
millennia.
It's a pattern.
That's deep, man. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I think we all have a hungry ghost.
Yes.
I've been there before where, you know, something that I may have, I should have stood up for somebody. I should have said something.
Yeah.
And I can't get rid of it.
Me too.
It pops up in random times. Like, you remember that time like 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Or even when you were a kid and you were just like, you were conforming. Maybe you did someone dirty. You harmed someone, but it was because of social pressure.
Wow.
You know, your friends trying to get you to do something, and you were weak.
That's deep.
You hadn't developed that muscle. So you did that thing, and you know that hurt that person and you're still living with it now. It's not just the memory that lives with you, it's the spirit of the choice. And if you don't address that, if you don't hold that in your hands and look at it and take accountability for it and really work with it in a reckoning kind of way, it can become disease in you. It can become vile, evil behavior.
That's a great point. So what you mentioned right now is moving back to bucket number one, right? Which is my choices. And when I talk about protecting your core four and taking full responsibility for your life, spiritually, that is the work. It's what do I need to unlearn? What was I taught that was just plain wrong? How have I treated people? How have I lived with? How many hungry ghosts do I have? And I have to sit with that and I have to deal with that. And the chances are that person that you hurt, that person that you could have saved, that person that, whatever the case may be long gone. You know, you don't have you can't apologize or do that, but you do have to still work through that. You do have to say, man, this is who I've been. And I need to find out who I am. That's, to me, spiritual resilience. And the most resilient people on the planet, through my research, have had a strong spiritual health. They've worked on that. Now, what I'm not telling you all is that you have to be perfect. That is incorrect. You can make mistakes. You will make mistakes. You should make mistakes. That's how you learn. Not dealing with those mistakes, making the same mistakes over and over and over again, right? Hurting over and over and over again. That is a sign of spiritual brokenness. It's not hard to see that your spirit is rooted in community. Your spirit is rooted in love. And like you said, the examples are nature, right? Nature goes on, right? And if none of us were here, they would be synonymous. And I think it was you that one time told me that has still kind of, blown my mind, is that trees and all of their thousands of leaves don't fight for sunlight.
Right.
They grow in a way where each leaf gets maximum sun. It gets exactly what they need, And I find that incredible. This is so funny because we have, and I want y'all to listen to this, right? Think about how sick this is. We have labeled community, helping each other, as a negative word. Communism is what they call it, right? So we call them commies, we call them this and that. And it's just like human beings create these man-made structures to figure out ways, one, to one-up each other, one, to oppress each other, two, to be better than someone. When in all actuality, your life could be absolutely amazing if I cared enough about it to keep you healthy and to keep you sane. Based on the fact that you're a human being. Right? If you did that for somebody and somebody did that for somebody and somebody did that for somebody, we'd be harmonious. Every tree, I'm looking outside of my studio right now, and we have pine trees with thousands of needles, hundreds of thousands of needles, and each one of those needles gets its share, and they're fine.
And it's that design has worked for millennia, right? For millions and millions of years in terms of the natural world. If it didn't work together in that way, it wouldn't have made it. That's also the human story. If we hadn't, in an indigenous way, cared for each other in these ways that you're describing, we would have gone extinct long ago. Long ago. We're not here because some individuals are superior and somehow they rise above everyone else and they are our salvation. And no, they're the idea, one of the most destructive ideas that exists in this culture, the idea of the self-made person. That is such a destructive lie because it's an intentional lie that gets passed down through the generation.
I'm self-made. You hear that a lot.
Self-made.
Yeah.
The self-made billionaire, the self-made millionaire, the self-made this, the self-made that, the self-made athlete. None of us would have survived infancy if someone wasn't feeding us.
That's true. That's very true. No, you're right. Or coached us, or taught us this, taught us that.
I mean, where we get the clothes, where we get the shoes, where did we get the thoughts, the ideas, the opportunities, the people we met?
Man, you're right. But again, a man-made structure that makes you go, I am better. I got here by myself. And it's like, no, you didn't. Like even me, like I think of where I am now as a speaker, as an entrepreneur. And I always, anytime someone asks me, I give love and respect to those who open the door for me. I give love and respect to my kids' mothers, right? I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I do without my kids' moms. Yeah. Like seriously, I know we don't get along sometimes, but the truth of the matter is I am only here or able to do these things because they have stepped up in ways to allow me. They have sacrificed some things in a way to allow me to travel to New York to do certain things or whatever the case may be. My parents who, may watch my kids or give me a place to stay or give me some pointers or you that says, hey, man, we need to sit down and talk about, when I'm doing something hard in my life or going through something hard in my life or I have questions or whatever, like you rely on other people. And it's like you said, it's stupid to sit there and go, I'm self-made. I am not at all. Every dollar that comes to my bank account is because of someone that helped me to get here. Every stage, I have to, I think of of course, I want my own stages at one point in time, but when I get on the stage, someone booked me. Someone saw something to me and said, hey, I'm going to open up the opportunity for you to come talk to my people. That's not self-made.
No. And so that's why there's so much suffering in the world at this time, where you have large numbers of people behaving in ways that clearly are rooted in the idea that if I just try harder to defeat other people, conquer other people, get a leg up on other people, then I will be better off. My children will be better off. Everything will be okay. My problems will go away if I can just use other people, exploit other people, persuade other people, bully other people. And there's a critical number of people who are operating in that way, right? But the truth of life, again, has never changed. And that is that everything is only possible because of the existence of everything else. In other words, in a human life, there is never one single moment in your life that hasn't been made possible by others.
Wow.
There's if you're standing in a grocery store, in that moment, it's only possible that you're in there because there were people who contributed to your physical health so you could get into that grocery store from birth to that moment. People were feeding you, people were educating you. Then there were people that had to develop the grocery store. There were people that had to plant and raise the crops. There were people who had to figure out the lighting and electricity. All of life has made it possible for you to stand there in front of that lettuce and just breathe.
Yeah.
It's never you.
And to buy it. Someone had to hire you. Someone had to.
It goes on and on and on.
And this is why it's so important for y'all to understand when I talk about spiritual resilience, you have to sit in the mirror and go, wait a minute, you're right. I didn't get here alone. Someone helped me get here. Someone helped me understand. Someone helped you, Nikki Giovanni, up on that stage. She helped you produce 13, 15, what are we on now? 20. God, I'm behind, man. 22 books that have helped a countless amount of people, right? The entertainment that we have, the microphones that we're using, all of this was created by other people. The spiritual brokenness that I want y'all to understand happens when you get on a microphone and you talk about other people, when you're racist towards other people. And this is why, like, during Black History Month, there's always this post or story about all these inventions that we use daily without even thinking about it. But yet we hate the people that created these. We like one day I was just so upset and kind of embarrassed for this young lady. I'm at Riverside at a Mexican restaurant, and the workers are speaking Spanish to one another to communicate, right? And, it's a white lady in there talking, this is, the whole thing. I never thought I'd see it. I see it all the time on social media, but like, this is America. You guys need to speak English. I'm like, lady, one, you're in California. That is not a, two, you're at a Mexican restaurant. Three, these people are serving, cooking. Probably built the thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the split between the entitlement that you have as an individual and the unwillingness to see all of the people that created these opportunities for you to walk into that restaurant, for you to even eat that food, like you said. You know what I'm saying? We're all synonymous. Once we start caring about people, once we get back to a spiritual, healthy spot where we're just like, you know what? Ask yourself, why do I hate?
And that question also extends out to, how does it honestly feel to me to hate? How does that feel in my body? Does that feel good? If a person is honest about that question, piercingly honest, they would have to answer, this actually doesn't feel good. The energy of this, the chemistry of this, the cortisol, the inflammation, like, it's literally poisonous energy in my body that I'm choosing to generate over and over again every day. And is that serving me? Is it serving anyone? Where did it come from, as you say? Where did it come from? Where did I get it? Because it is an infection.
And I have to keep doing it.
And it's actually, you're spending a lot of your energy in your lifetime.
I be trying to tell people, man, like, it costs you to be racist. It costs you to be hateful. It costs you to have this hate in your body, because ultimately, especially in a biblical sense, right? We all think Satan or the enemy, has long horns and a forked tongue and a pitchfork, and he's just stabbing people. And it's just like, nah. I just need you to. You want to get paid? Cool. How many? We Hollywood. We see people that say this all the time. Like, all you have to do. You want an easy life? Optically, from the top of the mountain, right? You want an easy life? Just do the easy stuff, but it will cost you. Right? And steal, kill, and destroy. That's it. And people go, they read that passage and they think like physically, like steal. I'm going to steal, like stuff, and I'm going to kill people, and I'm going to destroy the world. It's just like, no. I'm going to steal what makes you happy. I'm going to steal your joy. I'm going to steal what God has given us. I'm going to steal the the words out of the book. I'm going to put you in places where people affirm me, right? I'm going to destroy everything that was supposed to be built, right? Like you think about nature, what do we do with greed? Right? We destroy nature. Think about that. Like our pollution and all that stuff, that doesn't come, it comes from greed.
Yeah.
It comes from hate.
Yeah.
You know, we kill people, all this stuff. And it's just like, man, it's really, if you really get in tune with your spiritual self, like you said, discernment, you're going to start seeing a lot more. It will be revealed to you, the darkness, right? It will be revealed to you, the brokenness. You'll see the patterns, right? You're already on the losing team. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think about that all the time, just even with myself. I go, dude, if I was already on the losing team, and I know I was given free reign to get as many people on my team as possible, I'll give you whatever you want. You want to be rich? No problem, bro. Like, because I already know I lost.
Yeah.
I can't keep it. It's not going to do you any good.
Yeah.
It's not fame's not going to do you any good. We see famous people all the time. Suicide, coked up, shooting up, heroin, meth, car accident, like you name it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that was meant to be so good, why are they still stressed?
Right. Yeah, and you could see it as a prison, as a cage that
great,
people
yes.
they're building it themselves with their own hands, their own choices, all throughout their lifetime. And so the more monetary wealth, the more fame that they acquire, the more you can see suffering in the soul. You can see the consequence of the deal. They made a deal, and there's a payment.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Payment is due.
Yeah,
payment is due,
and it's gonna cost you.
Yeah. So
wow.
I think again, spiritual well-being and spiritual unwellness. You can look at these in so many different ways, but it always, comes back to what is the cost and what is the benefit for us to work with the design of life or go against the design of life. Because you never get away with going against the design.
Yeah.
You never get away with it. It may look like, as you say, optically, for at least a while, it may look like you've gotten away with something. You haven't. You never did. You never did. And the debt is collecting inside you in every moment.
Yeah. Wow. So, with that being said, let's climb the mountain a little bit. Now, you have taken this like revelation through the years. You've written 22 books. You've spoken on many different stages. You've been invited to many different places. You've traveled the world. You've accomplished a lot, all in the name of spiritual wellness, of lifting the veil, of having people understand that you were made for more, that there's more inside you, that, you're to figure out who you are, to activate this beautiful design, this beautiful gift that you have been given in a way that's unique and special to the individual, right? Your Daughter Drink This Water is probably one of my most favorite of your books, because I have a daughter for one, but it's also teaching me how to not just be a better father, a better man, but a better human. You've been on this journey for decades now on helping people understand, like you said, rehumanizing, right? But to help people understand the human experience, the spiritual experience, the joys of letting go of the oppressor, the joys of releasing the chains, the joys of what it is and what it's meant for us to be human beings in society, in which you have, geniusly named Soul Water Rising. That shift from Nikki Giovanni that night that just flooded you. You talk about that just, like you're literally emotionally and everything that you was holding just came out of your eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? And you decided then, I need to start pinning all this down, right? Talk to us about that.
One of the things, so I always shake my head because in the indigenous world, there's been an ancestral understanding of so many things. There's a wisdom that has been around thousands of years. But we live in this very young, strange society that is really controlled by a kind of supremacy spirit that feels like until it discovers something, then that thing does not exist. So until this culture, quote, discovers a thing, then no one else could, no one else knew about it.
Yeah.
And I mention that because one of the things that this culture is now crowing about is this so-called discovery that if you just write something down that's within you, the act alone can be healing and transformative for your life. And like that's some big news. Like the research has shown, studies have shown. If you don't even have to share it with people. Just the act of writing. Well, again, our ancestors knew this. They didn't have to do a research study. The tenure of being alive on Earth brings us wisdom. It accumulates in us, and that's the very wisdom that a colonizing spirit seeks to suppress so that it can position itself as supreme and say, until we say it is true, it is not true. But those who have still a tether or umbilical connection to their indigenous ancestral wisdom understand that the act of writing is a ceremony. It's a ritual. It's a dam break. It is you taking your whole heart and soul and being and putting it into words. So it's not it's not entertainment. It's not superficial. It's not trivial. It is sacred. Just the act between you and you, putting it out in the world. And we say write, but obviously it could be handwriting, could be typing, could be, really it could be painting. It could be any form of you just getting it out. And so at that young age, what I realized first was that when I first started hemorrhaging my soul and my heart, bleeding, letting it bleed out, it felt a certain kind of way. I felt like something was different in my body somatically. I think I was rearranging the molecules of myself. And then when I began very shyly and timidly to share the writing with others in the dorm, on campus, with the closest friends, people that I felt safest with, it was terrifying to do that. But what I immediately was shown is that when you transfer your interior reality, your interior weather system out into the world, whether that transference is bringing something heavy, something light, something joyful, funny, whatever it is, if it was truly in you and you brought it out, then it is very likely that it has healing potentiality for other souls, other living things. And you start to see that when you share what you have written.
1000%.
And that's what happened at that age, at that young age. I realized, wait a minute, this thing called writing is healing me, but it seems to be healing others. And I had a horrible self-esteem at that time. No belief in myself. So I was shocked. It was culture shock to see people experience what I wrote and have a reaction, beyond like a critique reaction. It was beyond emotional. It was something spiritual was happening.
Yeah.
And that was humbling to me. And it made me realize, this is something sacred. I need to treat it as such. And I began to learn to treat the writing as a sacred thing, not as a superior thing, as a sacred thing.
What's the difference?
So you can sit down and you can say to yourself, I'm going to write the greatest novel ever. It's going to be the best. It's going to not only be a bestseller, it's going to live throughout history. It's going to be eternal. It's going to be praised. It's going to be better writing than most other novels, what people are used to. So that's that spirit of supremacy. In that spirit, you could write something that somebody deems as good writing. Mm-hmm. You could write a bestseller in that spirit even. But what you won't have done is transfer or transmit a spirit of life itself that can touch another's soul and really infuse transformation and healing. Because I believe words are carriers of spirit, and what you put into a word is what a person will get out of that word on the other side of the world. So that's a supremacy spirit. If you sit down and say, I'm going to pour out what is true in me to the best of my ability, that's a sacred writing. I'm going to be true. And the purpose is because I'm writing because I love people, I love life, I love myself. I want us to be better. I want us to be healthy. I want us to be okay. And I feel like if I write this, it can help. So in that spirit, your words become medicine, not malice, not toxic competition, not harm, not the violence of trying to control other people and manipulate other people through your writing. So your words can be malicious, malignant spirit, or they can be medicine.
Wow. And you chose medicine.
I have to repeatedly choose each and every day because you can again be polluted and infected by this world, so that your motives change. And just for me, I'm only speaking of my experience with writing. If the motives aren't right, what comes out isn't quite right.
Yeah.
And someone could look at it and say, technically, that's good writing. But you will know.
Yeah. That hungry spirit, right? Like,
you
man,
will
I shouldn't.
That just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I don't want that out in the world.
That reminds me of a post that I did. Mm-hmm. And I had some new gear, just kind of sat down and shot some things about, some of the stuff that I was going through, which was, I believe that parents are their kids' first teachers. Mm-hmm. I don't think that teachers should have to bear the, bear the brunt of bad parenting, right? Like teachers are supporting cast members in the life of your child, but you are the director, you're the, things like that. School is just the studio where they go to get better. And it went viral, 20-something million views, or something crazy like that, And the comments, like people kept, tell them. People kept wanting more, And I found myself like, man, do I really want to be the dude who's just bashing parents and things like that? Now, what I said was truth to me. That's why I said it. But seeing all of those views and, oh, come on my podcast and da-da-da, this and that, like that one viral clip, you know, it opened the door for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Da-da-da. But then they just wanted to talk about those things from the clip. And it's just like, I don't want to be pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Right. And again, you can be influenced for now. I still believe that right now. Yeah. You're your kid's parent or you're your kid's first teacher. You know what I'm saying? And you have to do everything that you need to do to set your kids up to be well in school. But I don't want to be influenced by the fluctuation of views and likes and comments. I want to do something that's true to me, that's true to what I believe.
Yeah. And, you know, you've said something really critical. To be alive right now, this is the most challenging time ever for a human being to stay in touch with their truth because of social media and the internet and just this obscene kind of exposure we have to other people's condition, their inner condition, which gets spewed out online in the comments and all of that, right? So it's very challenging to not be affected by that. Very easy for you to write to the crowd.
Yeah.
And very easy. And it's seductive.
That's a great point.
It's sneaky. So when I speak of sacred writing being that process by which you are pouring out truth, I don't mean truth as in pouring out your opinion in the moment, because that opinion could be very infected and polluted. It could be malicious and spiteful. It could just be a random, mean-spirited thought you have. I don't mean truth in that sense. I mean to be a channel or a vessel for the truth of life itself, which means if you're staying in touch with that river, then what comes out of you will not be pigeonholed by social influence. And so you have to have daily practices that keep you
spiritually.
Yeah, you gotta be stay in touch with that river that's constantly running through this divine dimension. And, for me, those practices involve, spending time in nature, spending time by water, spending time by trees, sky, whatever it is, sun on your skin, spending time with enough quietude and solitude and stillness that you can listen for that. There's a voice that life has, that it's whispering to us, it's singing to us through the birds, through the wind. And it will always bring us back to that clearing where everything is caring for everything.
Yeah.
And that's also what I mean by truth. If what we write does not have a spirit in it that is loving and caring, and it can be critique, but still be loving and caring, but if it doesn't have that spirit to it, then other spirits can fill into those words we write.
Yeah.
And sort of infiltrate the writing, make it what they want it to be, or it could come out of us with that malicious spirit or intention. Being a vessel for the truth means I'm not going to prioritize my ego as I write. I'm not writing for me. I'm not writing from my identity. I'm surrendering to what I feel my creator is sending through me, whether I understand it or not as it's coming through me, whether it was what I intended to write. Like there's a surrender, there's an art of surrender involved with sacred writing.
An act of service.
Yeah, it's service, again, back to servitude. It's not about us. We might sit down and write something in a journal because we want to heal. Yeah, okay, but that's still not about us.
Yeah.
What's coming through is a medicine that is bigger than us. And while it might help us heal, to write about an experience we had in third grade, what we actually write, if it's coming from a pure place, is carrying in it truth that is true for all living things. That's powerful. That's powerful. When that teenager hiding in that attic, hiding for her life, Anne Frank in Nazi Germany, wrote what she wrote, in the moment, if you were there, you could say, oh, Anne, she's just thinking about herself. She's over there writing. But look what has become of her words.
Yeah. 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 That's a great point. And this is, not just her. Thousands, millions of other people.
Endless instances of this. So we need, I guess what I'm saying is, what you're touching in me is the idea of we need to treat our creative expression more sacredly. We don't live in a culture that has that sacred reverence for the arts, for the creative expression. We might think we do, but this culture does not.
Yeah.
There are cultures out there in the world where children grow up in school and at home learning by heart the poetry of poets from hundreds of years before in their culture and from other cultures, and it's saturated all through their education process. They're learning that what our soul expresses is worthy of being treated sacredly. It's worthy of rose gardens and botanical gardens, and it's worthy of libraries and archives and museums. That is culture, and that is life. And that's why oppressors destroy culture.
Away. Yeah.
They destroy libraries and archives and hospitals and schools. They destroy everywhere that sacredness flows. But they don't understand that sacredness lives in the people.
Yeah.
And so it's like weeds, man. You thought you took something out, and a few days later, it's growing again.
Yeah. And that's powerful, man. That is really, really powerful. And you're absolutely right. It starts and ends with you as the individual. And if we all can figure out a way to rehumanize, to unlearn, to understand, dang, I did not get here by myself. Somewhere, someone, somewhere, somehow has helped me get to this point. Spiritually, we can be healed, and we need to. So your books, your library of books has done that for many, many people. There's some people, this is their first experience with you. Where can they read these books? Where can they find you and follow you and watch you and listen to you?
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, old boy, Instagram's been suppressing and shadow banning and silencing my account for about 5 years now. So I don't feel that that's a place where, I don't feel the same way about sharing the work there. I still do daily. But I would say that to drink from the soul water rising, there are the books, and those are available worldwide. Everywhere books are sold, they're available at my website. They're available. They're not under witness protection. You don't have to go, hire a private investigator. They're easy to find. So they're out there. Those are my love offerings. And then I have been pouring the medicine words more devotedly recently into my YouTube. My YouTube is now a film studio.
Oh, nice.
That's what I'm treating it as, and I'm going to be filling it with short films, long films, but a lot of it will be just the visuals. A lot of it will be nature, and the audio will be my voice carrying the words forward. So it's going to be a film studio for my literary works. That's what it already is. I'm really carrying it forward in that way. So YouTube is a good place if you want the dimensionality of seeing the words, hearing and feeling my voice. You get sort of the tone and the spirit, the atmosphere. And then you could go to Substack, where I'm sharing my writing there much more than on Instagram. And then my website, everything is pretty much Jaiya John. If you want to just plug that in.
To Google, you'll find it.
Yeah, Jaiya John, that's my website, that's my Substack, that's my YouTube. And then, I'm doing, gatherings, virtual and in person, everywhere in the world. And those are poetry ceremonies, essentially. Just did one in LA, which was a celebration of Palestinian culture, heritage, and resilience. That was a beautiful gathering. So to your point, we need each other desperately. We always have, we always will, and right now we need each other in a very particular way. We need to gather, we need to be connected, we need to remember what it means to weave together and care for each other. We need to defeat this disease of hyper-individualism that comes from this colonizing culture that came and swept through these lands in much of the world and said, just fend for yourself, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Meanwhile, they were extracting and exploiting every resource they could from all of us. So they were not in any way behaving in a communal fashion. They were practicing the utmost in selfishness, which leads ultimately to your own destruction. But, they're pitching to us exist as individuals because they knew that would cut us off from the source of our power, which was one another. Our languages, our spirituality, our creativity, our ways of being together. They knew that if they could cut us off from each other, they could control us. So we're alive. We get to be alive now at a time where we take that back. We take our togetherness back. That's a special time to be alive, man.
Yeah, man. And I'm excited to be a part of it, man. Life is hard right now for a lot of people. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are angry and frustrated. But still, still you rise, right? Still you show up. Still you work on you and you figure out where you are spiritually. You build those systems in place where you understand yourself. You're in relationship with yourself. You're in communion with other people. Break bread with your homies, man. Visit your family. Do things. Do things outside, like you said, and understand where you are. Any last words for the audience, my man?
No, you do know what? This is special for me. This is sacred for me, man. We always chop it up, and it's always special, and I cherish it, and I give thanks for it. The conversations always feel as though they are being conducted from above, as they are. And I want to thank you for holding space for us today, and also for the way you're holding space in general in your life and in your journey for all of us to be well and to heal, and for the love medicine that you pour in your own singular way. It's a gift to behold, and I'm just grateful that you continue to make choices on your path that keep you in a condition of being medicine and not malice. So, bless you, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Jaiya, for joining me and us and really helping us strengthen our spiritual resilience, man, by looking at ourselves and figuring out what do we want to be? What do we want to be on this world? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If this hits you, again, please like, subscribe, share it if there's something in here that really touched you and you want somebody to understand. You can also save it. Again, follow Jaiya, reach out to Jaiya, read his works, stay in touch with him. He's coming up with some beautiful projects, especially for writers and creatives. So tap in with him. And as always, y'all, have a good one. We'll see you next week. And remember, life throws curveballs, but even curveballs can be hit for a home run.
Hey.
people you can't control the weather. Live in the mind choice bucket where you have full control. Stay disciplined to reach your goal. Life will throw curveballs, but you're not just stand strong at the plate and hit a home.